All right. Committee on Finance and Law will come to order. Calling the roll, Dr. DeMello.
Present.
Mr. Enos.
Present.
And Mr. Fiore is present. First item on the agenda is there is an anonymous donation to Taunton High School in the amount of $2,282.31. It's to the athletic department. Motion would be in order to receive it with thanks.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All those opposed, so voted. Next, we have an update on the procurement card. I don't know if Mrs. Moynihan has any comments.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Fiore. As you can see here, the P card charges are from July until present, and please know that going forward, I will continue to update the committee monthly. As you can see, there are multiple charges, but I did want to address it that some of the charges are color-coded, and as you can see, the charges coded in blue are grant-funded. Charges coded in green are charged to the department's revolving account, and charges listed in orange are charged to the school's student activity account. So again, if you look at that per month, there's July, August, September, and October. And if you look at the end of the memo part there, you will see how much each month is charged per account. As you can see, that the majority, year-to-date, we've done over $60,000 in charges on the P card, but the charges that are charged to the school budget is only about $15,000. So again, as you can see, the majority of the charges with the P card are grant, revolving, nothing hitting the school appropriation.
I imagine that it's going well then.
Very well.
That's good to hear. No problems.
We're working out some kinks, but things are going well.
Good.
No, I think one of the problems we've identified is we probably need more.
We did. We just got some more. We did order
I think we
some.
suggest that because, yeah.
We
that's
wanted to
good.
keep it under control first.
Yeah. Motion to accept the report.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All those opposed, so voted. And we have a facilities update on facility dues work orders.
Again, a monthly work order provided by the Director of Facilities, Mark Freitas. And as you can see here, there are 207 work orders open. And again, I won't bore you, but you can see there by school how many are open orders and how many orders have been closed by the building department.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All those opposed, so voted. Next, we have a bills payable warrant for fiscal 2023 in the amount of $56,100.74.
Move a motion to approve in the amount stated.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All those opposed, so voted. And finally, a fiscal 24 warrant in the amount of $1,614,489.05.
So moved.
I'll second on discussion.
Dr.
Just
Mellon.
through you, Mr. Chair. Page 19, Mrs. Monahan, there's a amount of $18,000 to Northeastern University. And it's a special athletics contractor services. What is that?
It is a PD training that all of our athletic coaches had attended, and it was charged to the revolving account.
So when you meet our athletic coaches, all sports?
Yes, it was hate in school sports. It was a PD provided by Northeastern that all of our coaches attended.
Yeah, I can add a little context to that too, Dr. DeMello. So this is part of the work that I presented last week at the MASC conference as far as having a standards-based approach to a high-quality athletic program, and also part of that work aligns with Governor Healy's initiative to eradicate or eliminate hate in sports, and Northeastern is one of the providers that is going to be leading this work, not only in Taunton, but throughout the state.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did second the motion.
All right, is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All those opposed, so voted.
Motion to adjourn.
Well, one through you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Is it, Superintendent Cabral, is there a possibility to, if you could forecast what our Chapter 70 money might be for next year, for 25?
I'm actually working on that now. We did get some
Just
preliminary
report back
numbers,
to us.
and I will be providing that to the superintendent within the next
Okay,
week.
Great.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? We're out of here.
The second regular meeting of the school committee for November shall come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Secretary Fagan.
Lord, as we begin this session, let us acknowledge your goodness and mercy and ask your blessings on all our deliberations. We thank you for this opportunity to be of service to our community and to the young people entrusted to our care.
Thank you, Secretary Fagan.
And roll
We have
call.
roll call, please.
Mr. Pulowski.
Present.
Mr. Enos.
Present.
Mr. Fiore.
Present.
Mrs. Fagan's present. Mr. Viera.
Present.
Mr. George.
Present.
Mr. Laura.
Present.
And Dr. DeMello.
Present. Thank you. If my colleagues would not mind, as we have in the past on the customary practice, we have two new school committee members in the audience with us tonight, and with your approval, with a motion, I'd like to
Make
invite
a
them to the
motion to
table.
invite the new members in.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes. Welcome, please, Ms. Donna Chaves and Mrs. Melissa Santos. Please join us. Don't ask any difficult questions, okay? Welcome. We're moving on now with the approval of minutes for October 18, 2023.
So moved.
Second on that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Approval of minutes for November 1st, 2023.
Same procedure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next, we have the Student Advisory Committee report, and I'm sorry I didn't get your names earlier. Please tell us who you are and what class you represent.
Hi, so we're the Student Advisory Committee representatives. I'm Leticia Lopes.
And I'm Kaylee Sanchez, and we're both in 12th grade.
What grade?
12th grade.
12th grade. Welcome.
Thank you. We thank you all for allowing us to be here today, and we're very excited to tell you everything that's been going on at Taunton High. First of all, I want to start off that tomorrow on Thursday, we have parent-teacher conferences happening from 12 to 2, and also something really exciting that we're doing for the first time is an open house from 6 to 8 p.m. It's basically parent-teacher conferences, but more community involvement. Basically, families will be able to come with their students, and they'll be able to walk through the school and see what classes their children go to, see what they're learning, the expectations of their classroom. And also in attendance will be the Taunton High Student Ambassadors, which is a group that Leticia and I are both part of. So we'll be helping give tours and let parents in on any questions they have, tell them about any clubs, activities that we are a part of, and also if families are not strong in English or speak Spanish or Portuguese or Haitian Creole, there are also a lot of student ambassadors that speak those languages, so we'll be able to help them feel comfortable. Also, it is NHS or National Honor Society season. There was just recently a meeting that was run by current NHS members for current prospective inductees, so that's really exciting.
Something relevant was the Term 1 report cards came out on the portal on last Friday, so that was nice. And then really exciting this week, Spirit Week. So we have, each day we have a theme and we have activities. So on Monday, we were Yellow for Kindness. The activity was Powder Puff. And something interesting was that teachers were given a Torch of Kindness sticker, and they were able to give to a student that they thought was kind. So that was nice. And then on Tuesday, it was Pajama Day, and the activity was Team Trivia. Today, it's Jersey versus Jersey Shore, so she's wearing a jersey and I'm wearing just Jersey Shore. And the activity is dodgeball. Tomorrow, it's Rhyme Without a Reason, and the activity is house decoration. And then on Friday, the theme is fairy tale, and the activity is homecoming from 6 to 9. So that's really exciting for us. On the Monday right before break, we have favorite holiday. You dress as your favorite holiday, so Christmas, St. Patrick's Day. And then on Tuesday, it's Black and Orange Day. And as always, we always appreciate like security with taking care of us, taking care of the bathrooms during lunch duty, the metal detectors during the day. This is something that definitely should be highlighted every time. Really grateful for what we have at Taunton High. Something else I'd like to mention is I've discussed this with Mr. Cabral before, and so I'm president of a program called PALS at Taunton High. We help newcomers that come to the school. We know that Taunton has a really diverse community, and we get newcomers every single week, and it's a crazy amount. And I was a newcomer myself. I've only been here for 5 years, and I created a program to help students that come to the school have tours through upperclassmen that speak their respective language. And something I've been thinking about is I would like to maybe have care packages made for them to make them feel more comfortable in the school environment, because from experience, I know it's very hard to be able to come into a new country and just feel welcome in the community. So if I'm accepting donations, suggestions, anything, it really would mean a lot to me if I would get any type of help. I'm thinking like maybe like a Taunton Tigers t-shirt or like some school supplies, which is something I remember I struggled with when I moved here. So if any of you would like to give me any suggestions, any help, it's greatly appreciated. And once again, I'm just grateful for having this opportunity to be here tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Before I open it up to the committee, I'm sure that through the superintendent, we can help and assist with your endeavor. I'm sure he's already thought about
That would
that.
need to be made in the form of a motion.
So, like the superintendent
So
said.
moved.
The
I
motion
would second
is-
that.
Okay, all in favor?
To assist.
Opposed? Ayes have it, thank you. Now to my committee members, any questions, comments, concerns?
What does that acronym stand for?
Peer assistance leaders. I'm sorry I didn't mention it before.
Okay, thank you.
So back to the open house, I know, I'm sorry, Mr. Viera?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I know the open house, I saw something on social media about some bites or something from the Tiger Den being served, is that true? There's some food going on?
Actually, yeah, I do believe so. I think, actually, I've heard that people that are in like culinary classes are making food for the open
Oh,
house.
wonderful, so I definitely will be there.
Yes. Yes.
If I could, Mr. Chair?
Sure.
No, I just think it's a brilliant idea, what the high school is doing this year. I know it's a shift, I know it's a change, but I think it's just a brilliant idea to have the parents, the caregivers come in and follow their child's schedule. I also appreciate how the high school is leveraging this opportunity to have all the clubs on display. I think they're gonna have some of their partners also in attendance to talk about the great work and some of the partnerships that Taunton High has started and continues. So again, it's part of that communication, and also part of that bridging what goes on in the high school with the community. So I commend whoever thought of this. It's a brilliant idea, and I know I'm looking forward. I think I'm going to dress like the 80s and relive my high school days when I visit the school with my daughters tomorrow. So outstanding, brilliant idea.
Great. Thank you so much, you're welcome to stay and be part of the committee.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Moving on, we have public input. Mr. Laura?
Thank you.
In accordance with the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 39, Section 23C, we kindly request that an individuals wishing to provide public input sign up in advance. A copy of the regulation and guidelines will be provided upon sign-up, and individuals will be asked to state their name and address for the record. The amount of time each registered individual will have depends and will be determined by the number of people who are speaking on the register. And prior to the start, public input portion of this meeting. And Mr. Chairman, I believe there are no members of the community with public input at this time.
We will formally ask, Ms. Karen, is there any public input for tonight? No public input.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you so much. Moving on, next item, we have the superintendent's evaluation and reflection, C enclosure. I'm sure that we've already had a chance to take a look at this, but shall prepare for, let's see, we have the rubric in front of us. We have the superintendent's evaluation rubric, which highlights 4 different subtopics. And I won't go through all the topics because we've been through this once before. And once the superintendent comes back, I probably want him to elaborate a little bit more about this. That is planned for December 6th. So,
But it's also flexible.
it's also flexible, okay, I was gonna ask about that. So you're gonna take it from here, Superintendent?
I'd be happy to.
Okay, thank you, so,
I believe in your packet, so good evening.
Good evening.
And just as a reminder, I am the only employee in the city of Taunton who has the evaluation done publicly. And part of that public evaluation process is where I provide you with my self-reflection, how I feel I have led the district and accomplished the goals that I've set forth in order to continue the Taunton Public Schools on a path of continued success. So in your packet, you have a letter or a cover letter memo from Dr. DeMello that illustrates or details the process. In addition to the memo that dictates the process, I also provided you with a copy of the tool that you utilize to rate me as needing improvement, exemplary, not proficient, and unsatisfactory. Those are the 4 criteria. What I'm also working on, if you feel it would be helpful, because I remember this last year, having a numerical rating. So I can also create a tool based on the unsatisfactory, the needs improvement, the proficient, and the exemplary. I can also create a tool that provides you with a number rating so that you can see, based on the overall ratings you provide me, if it falls within unsatisfactory, needs improvement, proficient, or exemplary. So if that's something you would like, that is something I'd be more than happy to analyze and create.
if I may, Superintendent, is that consistent with the other districts, or is that something that you want to start and
No,
implement?
it's not consistent with other districts, but it's something that if you wish to make your life easier when it comes to doing the ratings, no, because I seem to recall last year conversations between, people providing a certain rating, but in the end saying that they thought my rating was higher. So I always want to make sure that you have the tools and the information you need in order to do my evaluation fairly and in a way that makes sense to you so that you get the outcome that you desire.
If I may, to the members, do you think that's necessary for this evaluation?
So, just to
Mr.
be clear,
Vieira?
it's to put a numeric value on the grading system, essentially?
Yeah, so for example,
mean,
unsatisfactory could be a 1, proficient could be needs improvement could be a 2, proficient could be a 3, and exemplary could be a 4. And then when you add everything up together, depending on what the ranges, that would be the overall rating.
So I
As a
wouldn't
group.
mind that if it's the pleasure of this board.
Okay, anybody, any other comments?
One number, I would be in favor of that as
Mr.
well.
Arena, sure. Everybody else okay with that? Sure, absolutely, thank you.
I just want to commend this group on always giving me more work, so thank you.
You asked for it.
I don't mind. I don't mind.
That's
Again,
why-
that's the way my brain operates. I like to make sure at the end that what the rating that I'm providing or the rating that you're providing aligns with your feelings. really, because it comes down to feelings with some data to back up those feelings. So without further ado, I'll go into the tool. I'm not going to go item by item. I have a summary that I will read that goes with the full report, because I understand it's pretty comprehensive, and I expect over the next 3 weeks that you will review the document. As always, if you feel the need to meet with me, to schedule some one-on-one time to review the document and have that discussion, my door is always open. And I welcome that opportunity. So again, our mission, the Taunton Public Schools, will foster a lifelong passion for learning, empowering learners to become self-advocates who persevere and positively impact the global community. Our vision statement, the Taunton Public Schools will provide all learners with culturally responsive learning experiences that support their academic, social, and emotional needs. Our learners will be self-advocates who are empowered with choice in their learning and post-secondary goals, positively impacting the community. And then our theory of action, I won't read that verbatim, but I also provide you with our theory of action. Our strategic objectives: curriculum, instruction, assessment, and planning, management, budget, operations, family engagement, community partnerships, professional culture, and climate. As I've stated publicly, and I've stated with the committee and with the leadership team, everything we do in the Taunton Public Schools has to touch one of those 4 buckets. If it does not, it gets put aside, it gets put on the back burner. There has to be strategic alignment with everything that we do in the school system. So you've heard me talk about parabolic improvement. This is a parabolic chart. This is what Bitcoin looked like. I forget the year, but this is a parabolic chart. My point is this: everyone wants to see improvement at this rate. So from 1 year, we see students, think about our students, we would love to see parabolic improvement. But as we also know with parabolic improvement, there comes a crash. What goes up must come down. What I take pride as a leader is that the improvement that we've seen has been slow and steady. I think Mr. Barada used the analysis of the tortoise and the hare, and in the end, we know that the tortoise prevailed and defeated the hare because he was slow and steady. The growth that we've seen as a school system, while many may want to see parabolic improvement, we've seen slow and steady improvement, which is what the data demonstrates. And I believe with consistent, slow, and steady improvement, in the end, we will get our students to where we need them to be by the time they graduate and move on to college, whether it's a certificate program or whether it's a career. At the Barr Foundation, what we were discussing today was a lot of our kids, for some reason at the high school level, feel like they're going to leave Taunton High and not feel prepared for college. But when we speak with the kids, when we see them during the summer months or when they visit over the breaks, and we ask them the question, do you feel prepared? Astoundingly, they all say yes. So again, that slow and steady preparation will put our kids on a path for lifelong success. And that is something I take a lot of pride in as a superintendent of Taunton Public Schools. So for instructional leadership, these, I believe, are the 6 expectations that you are to hold me accountable for. And again, I have a quick little summary that I will read through regarding instructional leadership. It will not align within your pocket. Again, I'm going to provide you with a quick summary just so that we can move this along a little quicker. So for curriculum, I feel that we've excelled in implementing effective standards-based instruction aligned with the Massachusetts frameworks, fostering an environment of continuous teaching improvement. With regards to instruction, our focus on high expectations, student engagement, and personalized instruction has markedly enhanced student learning outcomes and inclusivity. With regards to assessment, the adoption of diverse assessment methods ensures regular monitoring and the adaptation of students' and evolving needs. With regards to evaluation, we've maintained effective supervision and evaluation of staff, upholding high professional standards. Data-informed decision-making. We are strategic in the use of our data, and this has driven schools and driven our goals, improving educator effectiveness as well as student learning. With regards to student learning, our diverse evaluative tools have provided a comprehensive understanding of student performance, guiding initiatives for varied learning needs. As you heard during both school improvement plans today, each principal raved about the use of open architect. That is something that a school district of our size has been lacking for many years. Through my leadership and through a collective effort, we now have the tools that our administrators can utilize in real time, to get a handle or to get a fair and quick assessment of how our students are performing. And what's nice about Open Architect, just to give a quick plug, we can create tools as needed. So Mrs. Moynihan is going to be working on a financial tool. Mrs. Moynihan in the special education department is going to work on a mental health tool. So we're going to have dashboards that provide us with real-time insight into how our students are performing. So again, Taunton Public Schools, our spring MCAS, as Mr. Barata identified during his MCAS presentation, you'll see a lot of positives with regards to ELA MCAS. The greatest area of need on this slide is grade 5, where we saw a decline of 6%. But overall, +2, +4, +6, +4, +1, and +2. So we are seeing that slow and steady improvement on how our kids are achieving. With regards to MCAS, and this is MCAS grades 3 through 10. With regards to our subgroups, very proud of the subgroup improvement. Our African American population improved by 2%. No change for our Asian population. Our Hispanic population improved by 1%. Our white population +4%. Our multilingual learners +1. Our low income +1, and our student disabilities +1. So while many districts are moving backwards, we continue to move forward. With regards to ELA MCAS for grade 10, again, the high school graduation requirement is that in order to graduate, receive that diploma, you must have passed the MCAS. Again, for our subgroup populations, African Americans in the grade 10 MCAS category improved by 7%. There was not sufficient data for the next subgroup. For Hispanic, we didn't see a change, but for our white population, a +2. Our multilingual learners, +6%. Our low income, +6%, and no change for our students with disabilities. In the area of math, again, this is grades 3 to 10. In third grade, +5. Grade 5, we saw a 5% improvement. Grade 6, a slight drop of 1%. Grade 7, +1%. Our greatest area of need, and this was something we discussed during our bar retreat, is the 8th grade. And how do we improve or get our 8th graders back on track, because it doesn't align with what you're going to see with the 10th graders. For our subgroups, again, you see improvement, which is kind of mixed on the most part. +2 for our African American population. Our Asian population, no change. Hispanics saw a slight dip of -3%. Our white population saw a dip of 1%. Our low income saw a decrease of 1%, but our students with disabilities increased by 2%. And for our 10th grade subgroup, our African American population saw a decrease of 5%, but the remaining subgroups all improved by 1% or more. Hispanic, 5%. Our multilingual learners, +6%, and our low income, +4%. So we are making slow and steady progress. With regards to science, this is an area that I believe we will see improvement in the future when the assessment that the state utilizes aligns with the curriculum we are using. And the state is making a shift to the assessments being more formative versus summative. Again, what do the students know? How can the students demonstrate what they know versus the regular MCAS, which we want them to just provide the answers, provide the information. Now the assessments are going to make that shift to demonstrating what they know and applying it. And for the subgroups, again, you see a mixed bag of results, mostly negative, with the Hispanic population seeing a positive of 5%. 9th and 10th grade, again, a mixed bag, but mostly increases. For the exception of our multilingual learners, they saw a decrease of 3%. Everyone else increased by 1%, 2%, and 3%. Also, some other data. During my tenure as superintendent, going back to 2019, which was our pre-COVID year, our enrollment was at 8,003. As of 2023, and if I didn't add this year's SIMS data, because this year's SIMS data, I believe we were around 8,230. You've seen our enrollment continuously increasing. Dr. DeMello mentioned attendance. So look at during the school improvement plan presentations. Pre-COVID, we are at 93.9. As of last year, 91.6. So we are seeing slow and steady growth. Chronic absenteeism, again, you are seeing a trend downward back towards the 15.4% we were pre-COVID. 41% high, almost half our students, again, almost half our students, 4 out of 10 kids chronically absent, unacceptable. In last year, 3 out of 10. I'm sorry, 2 years ago, 3 out of 10. And last year, 2 out of 10. If you round up, it could be 3. But I like the 2 better. And then graduation rate, you see improvement in graduation rate. We are ahead of where we were pre-COVID. And when you think of all the changes at the high school, new schedule, new administration. So that's pretty significant to see that rate of improvement. The graduation rate for our special needs students, pre-COVID, 66.7, up to 79.8. Those are points of pride that I take. Those are also points of pride that you should be celebrating as well. Our Chapter 70 enrollment, today when I returned from my conference with the Bar Foundation, the students were out back using jackhammers to break the cement pads that they created. High school students using jackhammers to break cement pads that they created, learning a skill that is transferable into the real world that will provide them with a high-paying wage. Very, very proud of the work in this committee to adopt that recommendation last year. So thank you, because you're seeing the dividends. 581 students pre-COVID to 711 students. And again, I don't want to brag, but I'm going to. 711 Taunton High students is more Taunton High School students, City of Taunton High School students, at Taunton High attending a vocational school than at the neighboring Bristol Plymouth. Let that sink in. So we provide our kids at Taunton High School we prepare our kids at Taunton High School for careers, whether it's certificate program, college, or straight to work. Our pre-K enrollment, again, I want to commend the committee for adopting this recommendation from myself and the leadership team. We've gone from 313, we had a low of 170 during COVID. We saw a bump in 2022 to 264, and last year 337. I am proud to announce that we will be opening our 6th full-day pre-K program here at EPOL School beginning in January. So we know that when students are in our programs and matriculate to kindergarten, they achieve at a higher rate. So very proud, and I believe we are close to 500 students now in pre-K, 3 and 4-year-olds. And again, we heard this during the school improvement plan, the bottom 10%. We started in 2019, I started in 2019 with 4 schools in the bottom 10%. We were able to move the high school out in 2021. We were able to move, I believe it was Martin School in 2022. And as of this year, we have 1 remaining school in the bottom 10%. So while school systems around us have schools falling into the bottom 10, we see our schools moving out. Again, another point of pride that I cannot say enough, and it's a point of pride that you should be sharing as well. This is all our work. Regarding management and operations, so we've successfully developed systems addressing the comprehensive safety, health, and emotional needs of our students and staff. With regards to human resources, our recruitment and development strategies ensure that we attract and retain highly qualified educators, and we are doing a much better job than we ever have in the past of recruiting highly qualified educators who reflect our student population and our community. With regards to scheduling and information systems, the efficient use of data and time management systems has enhanced instructional quality and collaboration. With regards to law, ethics, and policies, our compliance with legal and ethical standards ensures integrity and fairness throughout the school system. With fiscal systems, fiscal management focused on long-term planning, and transparency supports the district's vision and goals. Again, I know a lot of people wanted us to do more and do more quickly, but I also believe that we have to be fiscally responsible. I would hate nothing more than to hire or bring in numerous programs and then realize the funding isn't there the next year or the year after. So our approach to a steady growth and implementation of programs as the funding increases on the Chapter 70 side has worked really well. And I know moving forward, we are very well positioned. We are very stable when it comes to our financial systems and our financial management. And that is something I am very proud of, and that's something that you should be very proud of as well. And I know that's something Mrs. Moynihan is very proud of as well. So again, with regards to fiscal responsibility, I also want to note that we have been at 100% net school spending throughout my tenure as superintendent. We had a high back in 2021 of 106%. But again, in fairness to the city, with the increases we are seeing because of the Student Opportunity Act, a Chapter 70 increase of $10 million, which in the past, our Chapter 70 increase would hover between $2 and $3 million. I believe 100% net school spending this day and age, if the SOA funds continue to come in at the way they are coming in, is more than fair to ask the city to maintain 100% net school spending. When we get to that cliff in 2027, and the funding may not be there, then obviously we'll continue to advocate for 100% net school spending plus. But an increase of $10 million is more than enough for the school system to manage and continue to phase in the programs that you have approved, thanks to the recommendation of myself and my leadership team. Professional culture, family and community engagement, I apologize. We've fostered an inclusive environment where families contribute to the educational process. With regarding sharing responsibility, continuous collaboration with families and stakeholders supports student development and our diverse needs. Communication, very proud of the new app we are using called Parent Square, which fosters two-way culturally proficient communication and keeps all our stakeholders informed and involved. And I appreciate the school committee approving the budget recommendation of a communications director. I think that'll go a long way in helping to maintain positive communication and also strategic communication throughout the school system. With regards to family concerns, we address family concerns and community concerns equitably and effectively, ensuring that all our diverse voices are heard. And one of the ways that we engage the community, engage the stakeholders, and again, I'm very proud of this work, is we have 5 community input teams that are focused on looking at our therapeutic learning programs, reviewing the Taunton Alternative High School entrance and exit criteria, developing a character education program, a comprehensive character education program. We're looking at our social, emotional, mental health needs and supports, and also reviewing our handbooks with a focus on making sure that the discipline fits the action, and also making sure that we have restorative practices, because we want our kids to learn and move forward after they make a mistake, which in many cases is developmentally appropriate. With regards to professional culture, commitment to high standards, I think you know me by now, in that I have high expectations of myself and those that I work with. So we have instilled a shared commitment to high standards in service, teaching, and learning. This dedication has created a culture of excellence where every community member can reach their full potential. Cultural proficiency, our policies and practices ensure effective interaction in a culturally diverse environment, respecting and valuing students' backgrounds, identities, strengths, and challenges. This fosters an inclusive atmosphere that celebrates diversity. And again, I want to commend you during our last school committee retreat for participating in the diversity equity training. Again, not a lot of school systems, as you learned at the conference last week, are engaging in that work, but you're taking it on head on. You ought to be commended. Communication, my leadership is marked by strong interpersonal, written, and verbal communication skills. This approach ensures clarity, transparency, and responsiveness, keeping all members of our community informed and acknowledged. I take pride, but I don't enjoy having difficult conversations, and I also realize that sometimes people may not want to hear what they need to hear versus what they want to hear. And again, as a leader, you hold me to that high level of making sure that those conversations are had throughout our school system with all stakeholders. Continuous learning. We have developed a culture of continuous learning where staff members reflect on their practices and use a variety of resources to adapt and improve. This culture is molded in my own practice, demonstrating a commitment to lifelong learning and improvement. And I'm sure you're going to get tired or sick of me listing my superintendent's book club, But again, I enjoy reading because I believe through reading, that's how you can improve and grow as a leader. With regard to shared vision, I have actively engaged stakeholders in creating a shared vision where every student is prepared for post-secondary success in responsible citizenship. This vision guides our operations, preparing students for their future, not our past, in a global context. In managing conflict in a school system of our size, with a labor force of our size, it's inevitable. But again, we have a diverse workforce. We employ strategies to constructively resolve conflicts and build consensus. My approach promotes open dialogue and collaboration, benefiting the entire school community. And that's evident through, I believe, the 7 grievances that we had last year. And I believe the 7 grievances did not go beyond level 2. So that's something that we ought to be commended for. This is just some of the partnerships and some of the boards that I sit on, and some of the partnerships that we are engaged in as a community. I will not say no to sitting or being involved in a board, because I believe the more that Taunton is out there, the more Taunton benefits from these strategic relationships. And we have, whether it's vocational, whether it's through our roundtable involvement, sitting as a board member at the Reeds Collaborative or the South Coast Educational Collaborative, being involved with the Museum of Science, and being an urban chair that all supports the work and helps to lead the work that I am involved in and we are involved in here in the Taunton Public Schools. And the partnerships that we've developed, when you do my evaluation, I'm going to make this a quiz. You're going to have to name all those symbols. Because we don't give ourselves enough credit, and shame on us. We don't give ourselves enough credit for all the partnerships we have in this community and for the impact that we not only make in this community, in Bristol County, but Taunton is known in the state of Massachusetts. We are viewed as a leader. And unfortunately, because we operate in this fishbowl called Taunton, we don't always get out of the fishbowl and see what's in the ocean. And in that ocean of education, Taunton is recognized for the innovative and creative work. When superintendents want to sit with us at the dinner conference last week, and they're asking, how do you do half the stuff you're doing? Now, that's a credit and that's a tribute to the work taking place in this district. And again, I like to think that I played a little bit of a part in that. My leadership team has played a little bit of a role in that. And I want to praise you for supporting the work, because everything we do, everything I do as a leader of the school system is to benefit our kids and to benefit our community. And you know how passionate I am about making sure that Bristol County continues to thrive. So in conclusion, the Taunton Public Schools has demonstrated significant strides in educational excellence, community engagement, and operational efficiency under my leadership. My relentless passion for continuous improvement drives our district's success, ensuring stability and progress for all our students in schools. As we look ahead, we are committed to upholding these high standards and adapting to the ever-changing educational landscape and needs of our students. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to entertain any questions. However, I think you have enough material at your fingertips that you want to digest, but I'd be happy to entertain any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Superintendent. To my colleagues, any questions, comments? None at this time. The only request I have, if that's possible, I know that I have 2 members that are not going to be here December 6th due to vacation schedules. If it's okay with everybody that we can postpone it to December 20th, the evaluation? Everybody okay with that?
Absolutely.
I may not be present that day.
You may not be present.
Yeah,
Okay.
might be.
Anybody else that may not be present on the 20th?
Leave right afterwards. No offense.
Okay, so without objection, we'll move your evaluation formally to December 20th, Superintendent?
I have
Thank
no
you.
objection.
Thank you so much. Oh, yes, Secretary Fagan, sorry.
As long as everybody has their things in, that we can figure it out. It doesn't matter if you're not here, it's just a matter of, you'll already have the grade in anyway,
Right, yeah.
okay?
Yeah, because we'll ask at the December 6th meeting to send us the comments like you have in the past, and the Secretary and I will sit together and we'll compose the narrative, okay? But before we close on this, Superintendent, I mean, mentioning the community partners are very, very important. Just today, as the Superintendent knows, Bridgewater State University is reaching out to Taunton Public Schools to introduce a cybersecurity program that is state-of-the-art, according to MIT is concerned. I mean, MIT is coming to us. So it's the outreach that Taunton is present and is one of the districts that they want to engage with. And cybersecurity careers are 6 figures plus, from what I understand, and it's going to be great for our students. So the superintendent will bring that to us at the next meeting because the conversation started today. So that's one testament to the community that's looking to do business or engage Taunton Public Schools. Thank you for your great work, Superintendent, and for your team. Thank you. Thank you. There's no motion in order. That's just a presentation. Superintendent, we're going out of regular order of business at this time. Is that correct?
I would make the recommendation go out of order at this time.
Okay, so if the committee would approve to move out of order to item I, executive session, we need a roll call vote. Secretary Fagan.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Pawlowski?
Yes.
Mr. Enos?
Yes.
Mr. Fiore?
Yes.
Mrs. Fagan votes yes. Mr.
Yes.
Viera? Mr. George?
Yes.
Mr. Laurie? And Chairman DeMello?
Yes, and the reason is we're going into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to the Taunton Administrators Association, also known as TAA, for the purpose of discussing amongst the committee members with legal counsel the merits of an upcoming grievance of an interpretation of contract language with the Taunton Administrators Association, Unit B, and we will reconvene in open session. So we'll be back. Thank you. As we return back to open session, what are the wishes of the committee?
Motion to come out of executive session. A roll
Second.
call vote. No votes were taken in executive session.
Secretary Fagan.
Mr. Pawlowski?
Yes.
Mr. Enos?
Yes.
Mr. Fiore?
Yes.
Mrs. Fagan votes yes. Mr. Viera?
Yes.
Mr. George?
Yes.
Mr. Laurie?
Yes.
Dr. DeMello?
Yes, thank you, Secretary. So next up, we have the superintendent's report, C enclosure. Superintendent Cabral.
As I've done for the last several meetings, I'm just going to provide you with some quick bullet points. So what I'm sharing with you will not be verbatim in my super's report. I'm just going to give you a quick summary. So the first item in my superintendent's report was JA, Junior Achievement, which is an organization located in southeastern Massachusetts that brings in business leaders, community leaders to teach our students financial literacy at the elementary school. They held another JA Day here at the Elizabeth Pohl Elementary School. It was very successful, better success, better turnout rate than last year. It was held on November 8th of, I believe, last Thursday. They had over 60 JA mentors, including this year first, college students from the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth, that engaged over 625 students in the 29 classrooms. What I also appreciated and enjoyed this year was that some of the JA mentors were also bilingual. So they were able to provide the financial literacy lessons to the students in our Newcomers Academy. And I want to commend Bristol County Savings Bank for continuing to spearhead this initiative. And I also need to acknowledge and praise Principal Annabella Jones, JA CEO Jeffrey Pelletier, and the entire Elizabeth Pohl staff for their dedication and partnership and contributions to this work. And I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge committee member Nathan Pulowski's brother, who I believe sits on the board, which I do as well, for also being on site to provide instructional support to the students and staff in the building. I also wanted to mention that once again, we'll be celebrating excellence at our two high schools, the Taunton Alternative High School and Taunton High School. So one of the boards that I sit on, which is the South Coast Educational Collaborative, they recognize students for the outstanding achievement at Taunton High and Taunton Alternative High School. There's an award ceremony scheduled on December 14th, 2023 at UMass Dartmouth. Last year, the award ceremony was hosted at Bridgewater State University. So part of the collaborative's mission is to make sure that we recognize all the educational institutions in Bristol County in our region that support our students. So this recognition will honor students for their leadership, their service, and their outstanding academic achievement. The award is called the Francis W. Galashaw Junior Memorial Award, and it will be presented to one student at Taunton High and one student at the Alternative High School. I do not have the names yet because the principals are in the process of identifying the students, but once identified, I will be sure to share the names with you, and I may have them come before the board so that you can recognize them as well. So this is an excellent event, and I'm very proud as the first urban school to be part of South Coast Educational Collaborative. We were the first member to have 2 students recognized. Now New Bedford with their vocational school, their alternative school, and Fall River with their alternative school, we each sit on the board and have 2 students, one from our alternative high school and one from our comprehensive high school recognized. So it's great work. And I also appreciate the fact that we have students from suburban and rural and urban communities coming together in celebrating their outstanding achievements. It really is a sight to behold and see all the brain power in that room, because we do produce some excellent, excellent students. I'm very proud of the work last week. I know it was very busy, so I want to commend Assistant Superintendent Brenda Moynihan, Mark Freitas, and Mr. Barata, and a whole slew of other people for helping to pull off 2 dedications, a ribbon cutting and a library dedication. So we had the Student-Based Healthcare Center opening, which was a ribbon cutting on November 3rd in collaboration with Man at Health. And then the following day, no rest for the wicked, on November 4th, we also honored or dedicated finally the James L. Mulcahy Library dedication in honor of Haiti Cunningham, Edward Castle, and Janet Carmo. Outstanding attendance. I think both events had between 75 and 100 in attendance. Great community support. And again, it's a testament to the leadership of Katie DeCuda, Principal Byron, Principal Holcomb, Nurse Manager Karen Regan, and again, I want to thank my leadership team for helping to pull that off. And then just 2 quick little notes. I'm very excited that this Friday is homecoming. And again, I think it was a brilliant idea what Taunton High School did years ago, moving the event to the gym, because I think last year they had about 1,900, 2,000 students attend homecoming. And I think this year you're going to see the same amount of students. And if you're not busy, November 18th, which is Saturday evening, or Sunday afternoon, the 19th, Taunton High School Drama Club proudly presents Shrek the Musical. I'll be attending the event Saturday night with 9 of my family members, so we're really excited to see the community come together and recognize not only the great academics, the vocational programs, the athletics, but we have a robust performing arts program. So if any members interested in going, please let me know, Ms. Lasser or Mr. Vine know, and I'll be happy to get tickets for you to attend the event. And that I also extend that to the new members. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Superintendent Cabral. Any questions, comments from the committee?
Motion to accept this report.
Second.
Second on discussion, if I may. Of course, many of us were at those 2 momentous events, as you listed here in your report. But the magnitude of the Manat Community Health Center, we had federal delegation, state delegation, municipal delegation in attendance, and a great team from Manat. So the outstanding work that we as a committee, with our superintendent and our leadership team, to offer within walking distance to 3,500 students a community health center is just amazing. And I did have a chance to speak to one gentleman who was representing the federal government, who was really, really impressed with our work. And that says a lot, because there's many more opportunities coming down the road, and I'm excited about that. And they understand that we as a community stand behind what we do, and it's for the good of our students and community at large. So thank you to everyone. And of course, on that Saturday, we had 3 great educational leaders that we finally came together to celebrate. It was standing room only. And I'll tell you, I invited one guest who was a former school committee member, Mrs. Maria Fana Lopes, as many of her know, Fana Lopes, who her husband, who's deceased, was actually Mrs. Hattie Cunningham's first principal. So I thought it was special to invite her to be there. And of course, tears came to her eyes when I called her on the phone and picked her up that morning. So it's all about the community, and we came together once again to celebrate people that have made an impact on our students. So thank you to all the committee members. All in favor for the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Superintendent, yes?
Sorry, I forgot to recognize probably the most important person, or one of the most important people or departments regarding Saturday's library dedication, which is Matt Bork and the high school's vocational department, who created the mural. And that mural had people in tears.
True.
Thanks to the outstanding work of Matthew Bork and our Chapter 74 students. So I just want to publicly acknowledge Mr. Bork and our Chapter 74 program for their outstanding efforts in support of that library dedication. And I also want to mention that the 3 families, they will be getting a rendering that they can display in their homes.
Beautiful. Well deserved. Thank you. Next up on the agenda, we have administrative business, staffing report, C enclosures. Any comments? Motion, is there a yes, Mr. Viera, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There is Antonetta Vieira on the staffing report, and I just wanted to let my colleagues know there is no relation.
Okay. Mr. George?
I said motion for the business?
I'm sorry? We're on the staffing report?
Motion to accept the staffing report.
Second on that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next up, we have the Taunton Public Schools staffing update. C enclosure. Superintendent?
Again, as I've been doing, providing you with an update on staffing, and this is regarding, teaching positions that are vacant in the district. And as of today, we are at 92% staffing. We have 17 vacancies, and I've listed those vacancies on the back of the memo. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. But I did spend some time with the Human Resource Director, who mentioned that some of the surrounding communities are north of 60 teaching vacancies in their school system. So I'm proud of the work that we are doing, and I know it can be better, and I'm not going to be satisfied until we're at 100% or fully staffed.
Motion to accept the report.
Second on that.
Yes, Mr. Laura.
Superintendent Cabral, are there any specialists in any other school systems that are doing part-time that would want to fill in some of these positions on a part-time basis until we get a full-time person?
I could inquire through the superintendent's network or through the, some of the chats that I'm involved
in
in.
another school system only for 2 or 3 hours a day, and we can maybe utilize them.
I can inquire. Thank you for the suggestion.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion's on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next up, we have subcommittee reports. We'll start with the elementary subcommittee. Chairman Laura.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Early this evening, the elementary subcommittee had before us Principal Annabella Jones from the Elizabeth Pole Elementary School. Her presentation was the school improvements, which the plan focused on improving the student writing along with providing social emotional learning opportunities for our students. In regards to the Pole Elementary School, Ms. Jones shared with the subcommittee the following: collegial visits. This is where teams of educators visit their colleagues' rooms to observe and learn from each other. This is currently taking place for the subject area of math, but will build out to include writing ELA on the next session. Pole has a great support staff. They are pushing into rooms to providing inclusion support for writing. Pole's building-based mental health team is working very well, discussing and identifying mental health supports for individual students. They also examine wide trends. And then a final report or remark on this plan was that the reset rooms are being very effective and that they are being looked at as something to improve the environment and not something negative to label a student in a negative effect. And that completes the report.
Thank you, Mr. Laura. What are the wishes of the committee?
Motion to accept the report.
Second.
And I want just to comment, I was in attendance at that subcommittee meeting, and the question of absenteeism came up, and I guess the trend is the chronic absenteeism is consistent from grade 2 to grade 3, grade 3 to grade 4 with the same students. So it's something that's a little bit more deeper than not wanting to come to school. And of course, we're working with community facilitators to help improve that, to make sure our students do come to school. But, you know, it's just something we're dealing with, and I just want to point that out. I think that was important for the committee to know, that for those that weren't in attendance and for the public at home to know too. The motion's on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Next up, we have the high school subcommittee. Chairman Polsky.
Thank you, Chairman DeMello. At 5:20 this evening, the high school subcommittee convened. We listened to the Parker Middle School School Improvement Plan delivered by Principal Byron. Parker Middle School has elevated their academic performance as they are no longer identified by the state as being in the lowest 10%, and thus after 5 years they are no longer in turnaround, a point of great pride for Principal Byron and the school. Writing continues to be a building focus, collecting writing samples and calibrating the scoring. Decreasing the chronic absenteeism has been a focus. Very proactive with phone calls, using community facilitators and their truancy officer to impress upon the families the importance of being in school. From 2022, their chronic absenteeism was 35.6%, and in 2023, it is down to 23.2%. So they're seeing the fruits of their labor there. Additionally, the PBIS program, which stands for Positive Behavioral Interventions and Support, is fully operational as students and staff are working collaboratively in identifying and acknowledging positive behaviors to support learning and peer relationships. Principal Byron also commented that he's working in collaboration with Principal Jones at EPOL Elementary School to make sure that those programs are aligned as many of their students move on from Pole Elementary to Parker Middle School. So really focusing that they make it really about the students and their experience. Principal Byron went on to stress that really the culture and the climate is the strongest part at Parker Middle School, and he said the bottom line is that he sees that his kids are coming to school, they're learning, they feel safe, and they're happy to be here, that's the goal. One of the events that Principal Byron highlighted is that they've been having ice skating events for the students at the local rink. Particularly enjoying seeing a lot of our newcomers, kids from different countries that have never been in a skating rink before in their life, and just seeing the joy that comes through. So in response, a motion was made by Mr. Vieira and seconded by Mrs. Fagan for the school committee to join one of these events in the future and provide hot chocolate to the students. So it was voted on unanimously and the motion passed. We adjourned the meeting at 5:52. That is the end of my report.
You should amend the motion to include marshmallows.
And amend the motion to include Mr. Fiore ice skating out in the middle of the rink and doing some twirls.
Motion to accept the report and adopt the
Second.
recommendations of the committee.
Serving the hot chocolate, right?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. All, motion carries. Sorry. Thank you, Chairman Polsky. Next up, we have the Finance and Law Subcommittee, Chairman Fiore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Finance and Law Subcommittee skated to order this evening at about 5:55. First item on the agenda is we received an anonymous donation to the Taunton High School Athletic Department in the amount of $2,282.31. We then reviewed the procurement card expenditures from July through September, and Mr. Cabral and Mrs. Moynihan noted that the use of the procurement card is making bookkeeping and payments much more efficient than they have been. You don't have to go through a warrant process for some of the smaller expenditures that the department has, and yet you have good accounting for it with the statements from the card. Then we had a facilities update. Again, the miracle of software. We have updates through the Facility Dude software program, and most needs for construction have either been taken care of or are in the pipeline for the building department to perform. I believe just about all the tasks that the school department was to perform have been done or are about to be. And then we had two bills payable warrants, one for fiscal year 2023 in the amount of $56,100.74, and then one for fiscal '24 in the amount of $1,614,489.05, and both of those were approved as presented, and then we adjourned.
Thank you, Chairman Fiore. What are the wishes of the committee?
Motion to accept the report and adopt the recommendations of the Finance and Law Subcommittee.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Chairman Fiore. Next up, we have a new business item, which is the Taunton Public Schools FY25 budget timeline.
So I apologize.
See enclosure.
Yeah, I apologize, sorry, Dr. Mello, I apologize. Mrs. Moynihan reminded me that I forgot to give her the budget meeting dates. So Mrs. Moynihan modified her budget timeline to include items 10, 12, and 14. So our first preliminary budget will be delivered on April 3rd, which is a regular meeting. Our second preliminary budget will be delivered on May 15th, and then we will have our budget hearing on June 5th. And I don't have a date from the city yet. We usually get that relatively like end of May, early June, when we present our budget to the city council. So I just wanted to note those changes. Again, this was revised on November 10th. Items 10, 12, and 14 are new.
Wonderful, thank you. What are the wishes of the committee? Mr. Viera.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had a question on the new business. Now, at the appropriate time, or?
Sure, we're talking about the budget timeline right now.
Motion to accept that timeline.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Mr. Viera?
My question is in regards to school enrollment. When do we do for another update on school enrollment? And will that include a breakdown? I know we have 2 new board members, so I didn't know if it was realistic to have something maybe by the first of the year.
Well, I think that's very realistic, because I think I stated, and I apologize if I didn't, that the last report you received, because I was providing a report every 2 weeks because we were leading up to the October 1 report. So after the October 1 report, I will provide you with an update on a monthly basis.
Thank you.
And under new business, boy, I just lost the train of thought here. I may have to revert back to new business. I just lost my train of thought, sorry. Next up, we have, sorry, Mr. George.
No worries. Just considering the need for expanding in space and building space, I would like to put a motion out to authorize the superintendent to meet with the city and mayor's office to discuss future use of use and/or purchase transfer of the old Coyle Cassidy, which is on 2 Hamilton Street.
Second.
On discussion, I'm not sure, what is the intent of this motion?
As we saw in the records with our student population, it's continuously growing. We've had multiple meetings and conversations about what to do with additional buildings, whether we need to build, whether we need to purchase, how we're going to increase preschool. So
Right.
a lot of these conversations have had to go with building space.
Yeah, if
And-
my memory serves me right, we were supposed to get a report back from a needs assessment that we haven't completed yet, and I don't know where that is, Superintendent.
The needs assessment was referred to regarding Hopewell from the last public long-range planning. It had nothing to do with Coyle. So that report will be most likely in August, the August 6th meeting. We'll have the Hopewell report regarding, December. At the December 6th meeting, I believe we'll have an update on where we are with getting the feasibility assessment. And we also plan to provide you with all the items that were identified in the statement of interest that we provided the MSBA. That way we'll have a comprehensive view of what's required to be done at Hopewell. That was the action out of long-range planning. It had nothing to do with Coyle.
Okay, but maybe I'm not phrasing it correctly. Mr.
No, I
Viera,
understand.
you're the chairman.
You're saying there's a process, like, what's the process for, I believe, Coyle? Like, first we need a needs assessment, what's the district needs for more space from an expert in the field that's gonna provide a study? Is that what your suggestion?
Well, I believe there was
That's
a,
generally the first step, isn't it?
Right.
From any school district?
If I-
Before they
I
acquire
think we
real
need to know what
property?
we need before
Yeah,
we know what
buy
we
it.
need.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly, yes, we're on the same page.
If I may, again, if I may, during long-range planning, the conversation regarding Coyle ended. I think what Mr. George is asking, and I don't want to speak for Mr. George, so maybe Mr. George needs to articulate again what he's asking, because all I heard was to have a conversation with the city regarding Coyle.
okay.
Yeah, to clarify, it was just to authorize the superintendent to have conversations with the city and/or the mayor's office about Coyle, whether future use or possible purchase,
Sure.
transfer.
I appreciate that motion, but I think we as a school committee should also be at that meeting, at that conversation. I mean, I think it's that critical. That's my personal opinion. I know what my colleagues want to say about that. First off, there's a motion on the floor. There's a second by Mr. Enos. Could you restate the motion, Mr. George?
Motion to authorize superintendent to meet with the city and mayor's office to discuss further use or future use or purchase transfer of Old Coyle Cassidy on 2 Hamilton Street.
Yeah, see, that's not what was said initially, Mr. George. I apologize. Now we're talking about purchasing,
No, transfer.
transferring. Okay.
And that was exactly what I referred.
I would highly recommend to my colleagues that we wait for a new committee to be in place, which is just a few weeks away, so that we can better understand, and they can better understand what the process is, because this is something pretty major. I think that we need to better understand the financial outcomes of this. And, you know, I don't know how many square feet are there. I don't know what we're able to use. I have not walked through the building. I don't know if any of my colleagues have walked through the building. You have, Mr. Enos. Any other
I
colleague walked
actually
through the building?
graduated from there, so several times.
Could I
And
offer,
two kids that went
Superintendent,
there.
just 1 second,
I just want
please.
to offer, when you're done, Dr. DeMello, I would just like to offer a suggestion.
Thank you. So that's where I'm going, and Mr. Kowalski, yes.
Yeah, if I may, I agree with Dr. DeMello's sentiment of, you know, if we're going to make decisions on a purchase or a transfer as a school committee, certainly wait until the new committee's formed. However, to be able to make an informed decision, we're going to need as much information as possible. So Mr. George's motion to facilitate a conversation with Superintendent Cabral would be an avenue by which we would get that information. So I think, you know, I would support the motion as stated.
Question.
Yes, Mr. Laura.
Would you amend that motion to include school committee members who want to be there for the conversation?
Could I make a suggestion real quick
Mr.
before we go there?
Superintendent?
I just
Yeah.
want to make a quick suggestion. We can list this
Yeah.
as an item for 12/6, or for 12/20, and I can bring back the information. You can give me all the questions you have. That way we can start the conversation, as Mr. Pawlowski said, knowing that there are going to be no discussions regarding, like,
Yeah.
without you having the information. So
And
Understood.
And furthermore, as chairman of this committee for the last 2 years, we've been pretty transparent about talking about certain situations offline with the superintendent. I have not received one call from Mr. George about this. I've not received one call from the superintendent about this. This is being presented at a meeting at the 11th hour of the 11th day. I don't think that's fair to the committee. I think we should strike this motion, or whatever you want to do, and do it when with the new committee sitting in place. Mr. George.
I would like to argue that as the fact that not every motion that is brought up at this table is brought to every member, right? There's times certain motions are brought to certain people. So the fact that a person is bringing up a motion, regardless of what hour or what day, I think that motion should be respected and allow people to make that decision.
Absolutely. But I also respect the citizens of Taunton and the taxpayers of Taunton. That's where I'm coming from.
And nowhere in the motion is any money being spent, is to discuss.
You
to have
did
a
elaborate to
conversa-
that, Mr.
To have a
George.
conversation about.
Well, it's
which
still a
will not be
conversation regarding
purchased
money.
without the school committee involved.
So the motion's on the floor. We have a second. Mr. Viera.
I agree with Superintendent. I think it's better fit or a better conversation would be had on December 6th rather than tonight. So I will be voting no on the motion, and just wanted to share that with everybody at home.
I remind the committee there would be 2 members absent on December 6th.
Correct.
This
So-
is just a motion for the superintendent to have a conversation who we just gave a 3-year contract to, so I think he's quite capable of performing his job as superintendent of schools.
Yeah, and I just want to be clear, I was not aware of this motion either. But again, it's a fact, I look at it as a fact-finding
Yeah.
opportunity.
And this is also our duties and responsibilities to budget, which is one of our main 3 or 4 duties as a school committee member. So when we're talking budget, I'd like to be at the table for budget concerns. Mr. Laura?
Could I ask that that information be given to us on the 20th of December? Because I will not be here on the 6th.
If this is an item that the board wants to put on an agenda item, we will include it in the packet as a summary. So you'll have it 48 hours plus, because the packets usually go out on a Friday. So it would be, again, send me your questions, budgetary concerns, send me your questions. And then I can have the conversation, make sure your questions are answered. We can list it on the agenda, and then we can have a conversation.
So you're expecting from us, the school committee, what exactly, Superintendent?
You raised concerns about the budget. So if the city, if during the conversation, if the motion passes, and I meet with the city officials, and the question comes up from the board, is this to buy the building? Then I will ask that question and bring the information back that, yes, the city's expecting us to buy it, or no, it's, I think I heard transfer, that they will transfer the building. So again, what are the questions or the concerns, so we can start, if there's a desire to have that conversation?
It's the same thing like city council, when they have a donation of a piece of property, there's due diligence on that piece of property. Mr. Viera, you're in the real estate business, right? You don't want to accept a piece of property that's contaminated, and we're stuck with that piece of property with millions of dollars to get it right.
So would
I
that,
mean,
so would
correct
that
me
be-
if I'm wrong.
But I agree with you. I agree 100%. So would that be one of the questions that you would want me to ask, is what's going to be the due diligence process before, if, again, this is all speculation, I would expect that that would be one of the questions that would come from Mr. Vieira, based on his expertise. What are the questions that we would want to know or have answered, or what are the tests of the, again, the assessments we want done before taking on a building of that age, of this magnitude? And all the costs, all the hidden costs. I mean, we want to look around the corner, make sure we're making an informed decision. So I want to reiterate to the board members and to the public, this is fact-finding, to give you an opportunity to start the process, if there is a desire, to take on that building.
Mr. Enos, from your recollection, I'm sorry, Mr. Fiore, before I get to you, Mr. Enos,
Well,
I have a question for you.
I have an ongoing concern about the housing of Bristol Community College. We've gone for years with sort of a movable feast there, with them trying to get something that's a more permanent solution. And the thing is, the future of the community college, I believe, is very intricately tied with the city school system, because I'm a firm believer that a high school education isn't really a completion anymore, that we really need more access to post-secondary, even for people who are not going on to a four-year college. There are all kinds of enrichment and other things that would go from having a community college here, and I like the fact that it's housed where it is now, and even if the school department has something to do with it, I'd like to be able to coexist with it, and that's a priority as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mr. Enos, from your recollection, when was the purchase made for this building?
Well, it hasn't been officially accepted by the Vatican. The purchase was accepted by the city council, I want to say maybe 2 months ago, and then all that documentation had to go to the Vatican, and we haven't received notice from the Vatican of acceptance.
Okay, thank you. So, once again, I mean, I understand all the concerns and debate we've had in here. I think the proper channel would go to subcommittee, to long-range planning subcommittee, but that's the wishes of the committee, of course. So, where are we at again? We're at a
We're gonna
motion.
vote.
We made a
There's
motion
vote.
just to
Yeah, I
refer it
know.
to the superintendent to
Yeah.
have authorization to speak to the city. That's it.
Okay.
And yet, like, for the building that we're not sure what we're gonna do with yet, we're gonna figure it out later.
Exactly.
Well,
and
the
what
city
problems
owns
are.
it, is gonna own it regardless, so it's just really a conversation of, that the city council has gone on record to possibly transfer it to the school department. There was nothing discussed about making the school department pay for anything, so, I don't know where that came from.
Again, I'm just.
Mr. George didn't say that, so.
Then I'm not understanding. But anyway, again, I just want to make sure we do due diligence on a building. Do any commitment?
Do you want to just reword the motion so that everyone understands?
Motion to authorize the superintendent to meet with the city and mayor's office to discuss future use and/or purchase transfer of the old Coyle Cassidy on 2 Hamilton Street.
And/or purchase transfer.
Yes, purchase, transfer. We bought it, it's gonna be transferred, that's,
City buys it and they transfer it to us.
Correct.
Is that what the motion
that's
states?
exactly the way I understand English,
Well,
yes.
they let us use it for free, that's fine too, but he has that conversation, that's all I was.
What was that, Mr. George? I'm sorry.
So the use or purchase transfer, so maybe they allow us to use it for free or whatever that is, but that's a conversation that I
Sure.
think needs to be
Sure.
spearheaded by Mr.
Yeah, there's
Cabral.
also that famous movie called The Money Pit, where they inherited a house and they spent millions of dollars to fix up the house, so I just,
Part of the conversation that
I just want to make
Yeah,
sure
and
we're
that could be-
protecting the taxpayer, that's all.
And the question that I would ask then, with regards to Dr. DeMello, would be that the city maintains and oversees all the buildings in the city. We're not in the building maintenance business, so I would make that clear that if this becomes a school building, that the building department maintains and all the repairs, that it doesn't come out of our budget. I agree with Dr. Mello. I don't.
That's exactly
I
what I'm
don't-
leading to, Superintendent.
I
On
want-
net school spending, yes,
I want
exactly.
I want our dollars spent on children.
Thank you. Thank you so much for supporting that. I appreciate that.
Question.
Motion- Yes, Mr. Laura.
Again, this is for the superintendent to talk to the city officials to come back with the future potential of that school relative.
Being
to-
transferred to the Taunton School Department, yes.
And transfer, but,
Purchase transfer.
right.
Well-
But there's
Well,
no
no,
signing of
purchased by the
anything without
city.
the school committee, correct? The
Correct,
superintendent
you would
cannot
have to
act.
accept it. You've gone through this before, Dr. DeMello, yes, you have. Just like if you want to vote to get rid of
Yes, see-
Hopewell School,
Yeah.
it's the same thing, it's a vote of the school committee.
Right.
Just like it's a vote to accept. All we're trying to do is kind of gets moving this along to see if superintendent's even interested in the building. That's all it was.
For usage,
Yes, for
Not
an
for
educational
purchase.
facility. It's already been purchased, Louis.
right, by the city.
But you
Yes.
You said there was no
Because-
paperwork back from the
They said it
Vatican
was
yet.
not.
We're
So-
waiting
not
for,
concluded.
They have
there's a
equitable
process
title.
Hold on, hold on,
involved.
1 second, please, 1 second.
There's a process involved through when you buy, I don't want to say Catholic property, it has to go to the Vatican because it's over a certain threshold.
Gotcha. Mr. Viera.
They have equitable title on the property right now, so.
Question is, do they have equitable title on the property?
As soon as they get notification from the Vatican, we will.
Then I think the conversation isn't even worth having a conversation until we know it's been purchased.
It's not
and
a
it's in-
conversation that we're gonna have, we're instructing the superintendent to do this. That's why we pay him, to
Right.
have these difficult conversations.
And I'm gonna hold my comments and wait to vote.
Okay, a vote's on the floor. What are the wishes of the committee? Roll call, Mrs. Fagan.
Mr. Plowski,
Yes.
Mr. Enos,
Yes,
Mr. Fiore,
Yes.
Mrs. Fagan votes yes. Mr. Viera,
No.
George,
Yes.
Mr. Laura,
No.
Dr. DeMello.
No. The motion carries 5-3.
3, yep.
Thank you. Next up, we have, one more item under new business. Actually, should we have been even entertaining that? It wasn't on the agenda.
We said that we were listed as a future agenda item on the 20th, right? Was that, so that's how we do bring items to the agenda. So that was just to put it on the agenda item and to have that conversation.
I don't think that's a valid vote because it was not on the agenda. And like I said, we had no knowledge of this. We can't just bring that up on a meeting. I think I have to question that vote. I'd like to refer this to Attorney Gay to find out if this is even a legal vote because this doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. I mean, I've been sitting here for 6 years. I've never seen something like this. Never.
I mean,
Mr. Viera.
generally, the public has to have a general awareness of what we're gonna discuss, and again, I would think, again, I agree with you, I would imagine a vote like that would have to be listed, but
Yeah, I'd hope that we could make a motion to refer this to Attorney Gay to find out if the vote we just took was even valid.
I would so move that.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
no.
One opposed. Motion carries. Superintendent, you have the charging orders to reach out to Attorney Gay. Thank you. Next up, unfinished business action item update. The first item is City of Taunton Solar Project Visitation Schedule. Superintendent, if you want to elaborate, please.
Yeah, again, just want to remind the members, per our discussions regarding the potential of a solar project at the Chamberlain Elementary School, we've scheduled 2 site visits. One to visit a school in the Fall River Public Schools on Friday at 9 a.m. If you're interested in attending, please RSVP. And again, I extend that courtesy to the new members. I believe Dr. DeMello has already reached out to you. Please RSVP with Karen Lasser or with Wendy Devine. And then following that, we will be visiting Dayton Rehoboth School System to look at their canopy system. which is located in one of their parking lots, I believe. And that visit is scheduled for noonish. If we get there earlier, we'll get there earlier. And again, I just want to thank Superintendent Ponce, and Superintendent Rooney for accommodating this request and for letting us tour their facilities, as well as their facility directors who will be on site to answer questions.
Thank you, Superintendent Cabral. For a point of clarification, are we leaving from here to a certain time? Are we meeting at a certain school at 9 a.m.? How's that working?
Yeah, so once I have the RSVP list finalized tomorrow with Wendy, I will reach out to the board members regarding, carpooling, and I would think it would make sense to meet here at the reserved parking, and then we can hop on 24 down the Fall River.
Great, thank you. Next up, we have Taunton High School Parker Traffic and Parking Update, C enclosure.
I wasn't expecting to read it, but I just wanted to provide you with a comprehensive overview of both meetings. So I want to thank Director of Student Services, Stephanie Hoy, as well as Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Operations, Brenda Moynihan, for compiling the notes and assisting me with providing you the update. So work is ongoing.
So, Superintendent, I've been part of a couple of those meetings.
And Dr. DeMello and Steve Vieira.
I just want to make sure that, the parents and folks that are the users have enough information in advance as we start making some changes, because, that can turn into total chaos.
Yeah, I believe Parker Middle School sent their communication, it was either yesterday or last night or today, and I believe the high school is sending out their communication regarding the upcoming changes.
Great, thank you. Next up, we have the action item update, and if I look at my list here, I believe we can strike one item off, the open house of the Mulcahy School dedication. I need a motion to remove that from the list.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. I see nothing else on the list. Any comments? I see nothing else. Before we have an adjournment, a couple of announcements. I think the superintendent already mentioned we have Shrek at Taunton High School this weekend, Saturday night, and a Sunday matinee. Please go out and support the arts. We will have a bunch of holiday concerts going on within the different schools. I'm hoping that the superintendent's office can give us a list so that we can be aware, so we could attend with our families.
What I'll do is, like I did with the fall sports schedule, I'll put all the winter concert dates in my newsletter that I know you guys look forward to reading Monday morning.
Wonderful. And is there any press in the audience? I see no press. Before we
Motion to
adjourn,
adjourn.
happy Thanksgiving to each and all of you and everybody at home. Motion to adjourn would be in order.
I'll just make one last comment.
Yes, Mr. Superintendent.
I just want to, again, to all our seniors at Taunton High School, I just want to say good luck. I know some of our seniors have started receiving notifications of letters of acceptance. So I just want to wish every student who desires to attend college, may all your dreams come true.
Thank you.
Very.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes opposed? Ayes have it. Have a good night. Thank you.